hello to YouTube?
Hi YouTube.
Hi, YouTube.
Sweet. I am, because this is dealing with the two arrays, not just one array, so I'm having a bit more of a complicated text file. So that's why I'm doing it. Alright, now, alright, what we got here is we have an array of games and we have an array of ratings. So we no longer just have a singular object that we need to store, we have two objects that need to be stored. So we have to think about how we're going to store it. So I'm going to create a text file called game. I'm just going to call it games, but technically I'm just going to call it games with G and R. So G and R meaning games and ratings. Okay, so it's got both G and R. Now you have to determine if you're going to be storing more than one data type, so or more than one object. A game has a title and a cost. So a title and cost, I could, for example, say a title of a game. Fortnite, okay, and the rating out of 10.
10.
He's like a 0.
No, 10.
Undefined.
Okay, it's
Undefined. Okay, 7.
I didn't specifically enjoy it, so I'll give it a 7. Maybe a 7. Okay, no, but that being said, it didn't work well on my graphics cards. It's like very, not the point.
Yeah, so that's your computer's problem.
Okay, that's my computer's problem. Anyway, now the next thing we got is we'd also want to be able to store rating. Now a rating stores the game and the rating. Now, for argument's sake, sorry, it's cost. Sorry, it's not rating, it's title and cost. I apologize. A game object has title and cost. So cost could be, for example, it's free, so it's 0. Now a rating would actually initialize which game I'm talking about, hashtag, and we give it a rating of 7. Now another person gave that game a rating of 10, another person gave that rating a rating of 0. Another person, someone did in this class, another person in this class gave it a rating of 9, another person gave it a rating of 10, another person 4. Now here we've now stored how many ratings, how many games? 1 game and 6 ratings. But the problem is now, how are we going to determine the difference between those? Yes.
So do you use a hashtag to show it's an integer?
No, I use a hashtag to separate the fields, because the first field is the game name. Now the game name is unique. Now Fortnite would refer to this, which would, for argument's sake, my game here I've only got title and cost, but for example it might have a private string. What's the name of the what is it called? The people who develop it, or the producer? Developers. So it could have a so it could have the developer as an alternative, an additional field in there. So we only got title and cost because of the fact that I only wanted to make it a very simple program. But now I need to distinguish. I could distinguish this from being a game and this from being a rating by doing the following. You guys get me?
Where did you want it as R?
Oh, sorry, I don't know why F. Thank you. That actually was what I was going for. It's just, I don't know. It seems to be more. So now it tells me that it's a game when it's got an R and a G when it's got a that. Now, for example, I'm actually going to add in here who's the developer of Fortnite?
Epic Games.
Hashtag 0, meaning that I now have so here I would have in here private string developer, so it should be as a small d because it's not a semicolon, and then I'm going to create my fully parameterized constructor, which would take all 3 in, control S, and so we would work with that. So I've added that in there. Now give me another game. So G hashtag
God of War.
That's a book.
No, I don't like it.
Who's that? Who creates that?
Chippy.
Chip. Okay, Chippy creates it. Now, let's say that's 200 rand. I don't know what it is, but whatever. Okay, now rating hashtag God of War. Guys, here we are assuming the unique identifier for the game is the title. You would refer to the unique identifier. Do you guys get me? So what uniquely identifies the game is that hashtag the rating 8 R hashtag God of War hashtag 10. Anybody else another rating? 7. Okay. I'm happy with leaving that. But now you guys notice there's a variable number of ratings per game. Now we are distinguishing them by the fact we have a G and an R in front of them. So what we would do is in our constructor, in our ratings manager, which should initialize my games and my ratings, I would need to read from the text file. So now to read from the text file, I would first create an instance of my file. So I'll type file, Control F. Now it didn't come up with any suggestion because I used a small letter F. So file there's the java.io file. I import it, I press enter, so it'll import the java.io file. You guys follow me? Okay. File F is equal to new file. And we're going to say the string path name, and it is called g and r.txt. Okay. We are then going to create a scanner to scan this file. Now as soon as I create the scanner, scanner.scf, which is scan file, is equal to new scanner, and I use the file source f semicolon, it's going to tell me, whoa, what is it telling me here? It's saying that there's an unreported exception. And remember, I suggested to you guys that you throw it for now and you handle it in your GUI, because then you can give an error message to the user and to the programmer. Okay, you can separate those out. Now, in this, I'm going to say while scf is dot has next. So while there is a new record, string record, so I'll read each individual record out is equal to scf dot next line. So it'll get the whole line in. So from this text file that we have, it's going to take this whole entire line in and put it into a variable called, it's going to put it into a variable called record, and we're now looking at that separately. So it's in a string called record that we put that in there. So now if I go in here and I say record, we now need to loop through our record and separate each thing. So we create another scanner to scan through the record. So now we're individually scanning through the record. Now this is going to be a string source. Now on this one, what is our delimiter? What separates our records? What delimitates each item in here? Hashtags. So our delimiter is, so we use the delimiter of a hashtag, so we're separating out. Now guys, there's more than one way to do this. I could actually read a hashtag in as a separator from the get-go. I can do this other ways. This is just easier to first read record by record. So it's the idea of separating your problem into different steps. First step, I get each record in, so I know a record is there. Second step, I separate them into their attributes or their fields. So if now I'm separating into its attributes, so I'm scanning the record. Now here I need to determine whether it's a game or a. Now how did I determine that it was a game, or how did I determine that it's a G or R? So I can now say char I'm just going to say G or what, W for what is equal to scan record dot next, which will get me a string. So you guys get me, that will get me G or R dot char at 0. Okay. To explain that a bit more, okay, scr.next will take the up until the delimiter. Remember, we set scanner is like this. I'm scanning this string. This is the string I'm scanning, right? scr.next scans until it reaches my delimiter. So it will scan until my delimiter, which is G. So I'll only get G in. Now right enough, that will be a string. I could store this as a string, but a string is a complex object. But I know I only want to get one character. So the next thing I've done is I've taken that string, which is in this case just G, and I've said get the character at position 0, which will be G.
So that's the first position.
Yeah, 0 is the first position because remember it's like an array. First position in the array is 0. So guess position 0. So what's going to be stored into what? What's going to be stored in what? In this case, G. Okay. Now obviously in the next record it might store something else. So each record it will go through. Now the first thing I'm going to have to determine if open brackets what is equal to G. Then it's a game, right? Else, now I can choose here. I would technically go else if what is equal to R. Now I do hear what you're saying. Why would I not just do else? And the reason why is, remember we're dealing with something outside of our control. What if there was a record that had here a small r or a small g or a h? What do? I don't want to automatically add it as a game. So what I would do else, I would actually print out an error to the user, a pear-shaped input, and I'll then okay, now I'll then print out that record, just so that I can tell the user, whoa, there was one record that was pear-shaped. Now if I hadn't have done this, now let's say there was one that had a small r, that had 5 different things and only had 2 things of a different data type, and I was trying to input it as a rating or a game. My program would have thrown out an error, and it would have had any clue where the error was coming from. If I had 1,000 records in there, and one of the records has a small letter T instead of a G or an R, good luck finding. Whereas now it'll tell me, hey, you guys get me? So it's worthwhile not just going else, but putting there a condition for that. So now, if I go what is equal to G, that means that it is a game. A game requires first, the next string is the game name, then it's the developer. So it goes string G name is equal to scr dot next semicolon string develop, I'm just going to put dev, is equal to scr dot next, and the last one is an integer int cost is equal to scr dot next int. Okay, now the next one, then what I would do is I would run, and this is why I code my methods separately. My add game, my add ratings I code separately, so that now I don't have to worry about doing all of that. I can just go add game, done. So the first thing I would do before I even read from my text file, you will be asked this as one question. It will say, read from the text file, add it to your arrays. Right? Don't answer it as one question. Okay, I need to add to an array. There is going to be 3 marks allocated for you adding it to an array. I would literally find your method called add game, 3 marks, done. You've got that right. I would then go and I'll look at your reading from the text file. So don't do it all in one answer, because you're going to confuse the hell out of yourself. Okay, I need to add to an array, Create a method that would add it to an array, receive the parameters needed to add it to the array. You can separate the logic, and then it makes your programming life easier. A lot of the times, complex problems are solved by being able to break them down into smaller, simplistic problems, and then just connecting them. Okay, now the next one is R as a rating. A rating requires only 2 things. A rating requires the game. Now this is a little bit more tricky, because the first thing I'm going to get is the G name, right? And the second thing I'm going to need is an integer for the rating, which is scr dot next int semicolon, which means I've retrieved everything I need, but it's not going to allow me to add this to the add rating. Why? Because add rating, it does require string game name, and so I actually already solved this in my last video that I did with this. But remember, I created a method called getGame. GetGame searched the loop of it does get pos, which will research the loop, search through my games, and returns that game object. So even though I only got the name of the game, it will find that game and return that object. So it add, even though I'm only sending through the game name, it will call in my add rating method, because I remember I separated the problem out here. I received only the title of the game, but I then went and found the game by getting the position it was in the array and returning that object that's there. So it was different problems, different steps. Okay, sorry, I didn't realize I'd already solved that aspect, but that was the search function that we solved earlier. Alright, now do you guys get this? So now, do we have a toString method in this? Yes, we do. Do I actually print it out in my, let's just check, because then I would like to actually run this to see if it works. It's not going to work at the moment. Why? Why is this error occurring? Because I threw it, remember? So I need to now catch it. So let's go, let's surround block with try catch, and here I'll just go sir error in initializing ratings manager plus ex. Now, and guys, please don't forget to print out the ex. Error message is useless unless you say what actually went pear-shaped.
So please put that in.
Okay.
Okay. Please, sir. Brian.
So now, if I run this now, you're hoping it's gonna. Okay, now it says there's still errors in my program, so I think I've got a test function here. Okay, there's a. I don't. This test one was to add some random games to test. Let me delete it.
Bye bye.
Goodbye. Alright. Now if I go back here to my. Let's run it now. Let's see what happens. Okay. Nothing. Woo. Okay. I don't know if we actually got it to run anything ever. So let's just check what actually happens. I actually haven't got it to display anything. Okay, so let me create a button that says display all or something, because I don't think we have a button that displays everything. Nope. Do I have a method called display all? Yeah, I do. Look at that. Huh. Oh yeah. So it does have a method for that. I just didn't call the method. So let's try that again. Press the button. Sweet. Fortnite R0. Okay, it only prints the game. It doesn't print the ratings. So let's see if I can get the average. You know what we can do? So in my toString, I'm only printing out if I look at my toString, I'm only printing out the game. I'm not printing out anything else. So what I can do is I have here a method called getRatings that will get all ratings. What if I want to create a method that will only get a ratings of a specific game? So now I want to create a public string getRatings. So now this is what's called overloading.
Oh, you covered this before.
I've covered it before, yes. Meaning that I have got a second
It just has different inputs.
yeah. So now if I go now game
I thought it was G name.
G, now I do the exact same thing as I do here. The only difference is I just add inside it. Here I could surround. Now remember, you can use your little, if you highlight it, you can use your little thing there and say, okay, I want an if statement here. So surround with if, and then I can say if G is equal to ratings position I dot get game. So if the G is equal to the G, return the rating. And then what I can do here in my toString is I can say, okay, backslash n, which is an enter, right? Then I can go plus get ratings, and I can send through the specific game, which means if I go games position I, so I'll send through that specific game, so I'll get that game's ratings. So now when I press play and I run my toString, run, it will say there Fortnite. Now my toString of my rating sucks, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, but they are all there. But now I also do I have an average of it as well? So like it's pretty ugly at the moment, right? Okay, so if I wanted to let's fix my ratings toString. My ratings toString is ugly. Now do I actually need all of this. Technically, the only thing, because I'm printing it out by the game, I could just print out the rating
Yeah.
and convert it to a string. Okay? So now, if I ran this now, it would just display Fortnite 0 rand 7 enter. Okay, there's too many enters there. So it's looking ugly. So let me get rid of. Now, what if I would personally also want to add an average rating at the top? So I would want to say average rating. Do we have an average here? Does anybody know if we did code an average?
I don't think we did, so.
Okay, does anybody know how to code average?
Just get
all of
the
that add those together and
So-
divide by them.
Okay, cool. So basically, I could do the exact same thing as I've done here, where I receive in a game, because we want an average rating for that specific game. But now instead of it returning I would probably get it to return a real or a float. Float just means it'll have decimal places.
Drop dead.
Instead of .toString, I'll do .get rating tot divided by num ratings. Now it's still read here. It's already defined. Oh, you telling me I already did it? Oh no, it's because it's called get ratings, get average. Why is this now giving me read and learn? Get average does not apply because I have to send through the game. So games position R. Cool, done. So now what it should do is it should now look much prettier. So I press play. Let's see if it looks prettier. Press button. Oh, there's still too many in this, but average rating of 4.447, average rating of 2.777. That doesn't look right. You know,
So
I know why.
You forgot the break in between.
Not okay. The
You
break is
didn't
slapping,
add the
but
numbers together.
no. Well, that's not the problem. What else? What's the problem? Oh yes, okay. I didn't add the numbers. Oh, thank you. Yes, good point. There's two problems. There's two problems. You saw one. I saw that. Okay. Okay. So the one problem is no, I did plus equals. So I'm adding them together. But what am I dividing by?
Number of ratings.
And num ratings is
It's the total between
it's
the whole text
all
Oh,
ratings of
okay.
all games, not just of that specific game. So I should divide by. I should have int count is equal to 0, and here I should go count plus plus, and then here I should divide by count, because not all games are got there. That's why the numbers were so low. So now if I run it, that should look a bit better. Run it again. Okay, I forgot to put an enter there, but average of 6.6, that's better. Average of 8.33. Okay, so you guys check, again it's a little bit ugly, so I'd play. Am I looking pretty now? Well, I still not, but this looks better.
Yeah.
You guys get this? So now what we've done is we've read from a text file, we've used our various methods to make a presentable program that could be useful. I'm stopping this video now. You guys good? Cool. Okay, this new video, which didn't take place just after the old one, it's completely new, separate item, is what if I wanted to, how would I do this now?
You'd have to say, like, search through until you see a different name. The first one is the name of the game, along with the developer. No, sir.
Just the reason why is the order of entry might not be the same as the order of input, so I don't want that to be the solution. I do understand if we always follow that rule, that's possible, but Yeah, that could have been a solution. Yes.
Please check like if the third position exists. So like, you see there are two
Okay,
things.
so you're saying if there exists a third entry, but now.
Yeah, like the, you see there are.
Okay, but I don't know if I could get past the second entry.
I'm saying. Like,
Why would I hear if there's a third entry, but why would I say I don't know if I could get past the second entry?
What do you mean?
Look at the second entry. What is the second entry here? Sorry, not this one. What is the second entry? Here it's a text. What's here?
It's a number.
It's a number. But do here we could check now if there was a third, but remember I have to read the second before I can look if there's a third.
Yeah.
So I like the solution. Yes.
So what we're trying to do?
We're trying to now distinguish between a game and a rating of a game. So the first suggestion was by Nick, and Nick said loop through until the game changes. So that was the solution, but then I threw a spanner in his works and I put there Fortnite 10. In other words, the rating that was in there that was in the middle of another game. So I put a spanner in his works, so his solution now didn't work. His solution was working until I stopped it from working. Then Scott said, which will work, but I was trying to indicate that as a potential problem, but you could still figure it out around it, is the fact that you look if there is a third entry, because here there's only 2, here there's 3 entries. So that was an alternative solution, yes.
So why don't you just get the first one? The first one will be the game, and then because then you don't put in the game twice. You just put in the game once, and then anything after that's just a rating.
That's what I said.
So you're saying if Fortnite comes up again, but now you see here there's a different thing. It's no longer a Game of War. It's Fortnite in the middle of Game of War. So you're saying if it doesn't exist,
It doesn't exist. So the first time you
okay, so you could loop through the games and see if it doesn't exist. I hear you. But now what happens? Now remember, storage doesn't always happen in order. What happens if accidentally there gets Battle Zone 2 #3? No. This is made by game. I can't even remember the name, but whatever. #150. Now here. The storage happened out of order. There was a rating into it before we managed to store that. But I do hear you, but it could potentially happen out of order. So I do hear you, but there is, and yeah, there will always be potential problems, and you'd have to watch how your input happens. So if you had control over the input, you could work with that. Last 3, then I'm going to go through the way of actually coding it. Okay, yes.
So couldn't you loop through them and find all of them that had the same name and then do it next method?
When you're dealing with an external file, especially with text files at least, a scanner can't happen out of order, meaning that you have to open up a scanner, you'd have to iterate through every single line of it. So you could do it, it's just you'll be wasting a lot of code, because you can't go 1 and search through and 2 then search through. It doesn't work like that.
Okay.
You have to go through each individual record, and then you're wasting a lot of programming code if you're making it every single new game to search through everything. Like imagine if this text file is millions of lines long. For every single new game, I have to search through all millions of lines. I mean, quite frankly, text files isn't the most appropriate way of answering this anyway, but that's not a very good solution if we were using a text file. Chippy and then Johnson, and then I want to move on. Yeah.
So what if you said if the second entry is an integer?
Yeah, if the second entry is an integer, that's a similar solution to what we were talking with Scott, but it's check if it's an integer. Yes. Go. So check if there's a second integer, or check if there's 3 values. I think those are the best 2 solutions to this problem. So now we're going to go back up to our text file. This is no longer going to work. We no longer have this char, right? So I'm going to delete that. We know that's not going to work. Now, what we're basically saying here is this step here is now this. This is no longer going to be a developer. It could be a developer, or it could be the rating. So I'm going to call it dev or r, dev or rating. So it could be a dev or rating. Now, if there might not be a third entry, so we could check if there is a third entry. Or what I could do is I could do a try catch. Okay, meaning that I am going to try int rating rat is equal to devor I don't know if it's going to allow me to do this. It might make me do an integer.parseInt. Damn it. String. Now, I'll get to. Yeah, I'll go. This integer.parseInt, I am going to try pass whatever this is into an integer. If it's successful, it means it's a rating. If it's not successful, it means it's a
game.
Again, it's a game. Now, actually, Malcolm's solution I just realized would work as well. I'll explain why now. Now, I didn't have developer here. Funny enough, we're ignoring developer, but anyway. So then now, if it's not here, we could just add rating directly. So add rating, title and rat, done. If it's this, we need to still receive. Sorry. What was the last one? No, it was in cost, right? You guys follow? Should we test if this works? Anybody?
No.
Do you think? Do anybody see a problem? I don't see a problem, but let's see. Sweet. So it works. No difference, right? So now that's worked. An alternative solution. So now that was a throw off of Scott's, but Chippy and Johnson's, what they worded as far as checking if it was an integer or not. Another one was if there was a third entry. So the third entry would be, to my knowledge, if I'm correct in this, there's an option of going if open brackets scr fcr dot has next, and then I could say if it has a next, it means it's a game. So then I'd go int cost is equal to scr dot next int semicolon add game. If there wasn't that, else it means it would be a add rating, in which case I'll just add the ratings. Oh, not on rating. I'd have to convert this to an integer, wouldn't I? So now I have to go integer dot parseInt, and I'd send through dev or. So that would be a Scott's solution. Do you guys get that? That Scott's solution is I check if there is a third record. If there's not, then it's that. Another solution. So guys, this here is considered higher level thinking in matrix, so please do pay attention of it. The third solution was what Malcolm said, check if the game exists. So what basically he was saying is right now, go say if gname, we had a get game, game equals null, because remember I coded that method to return null if we couldn't find the game. Because remember, if the game wasn't found in get game, it returned null. Do you guys get that? So, guys, hey. So, if null was returned, it means that it's not a rating, it's a new game. Meaning that I still need to get a string of developer, which is equal to scr dot next. I would need to get an int cost equals to scr dot next int. And I would then need to go and add the game. If the game existed, I could then go else. Then I just need to get the int rating, which would be scr dot next int. And then I would go and I would return. Sorry, I would need to go add rating. Now, and that would be done. We'll test if that solution also worked. Play. Oh, no such elements exception. What? I'm trying to get an integer when it's a Hey, this is interesting. It's saying that there's no such elements existing, meaning I'm trying to read something that doesn't exist. So I'm going over the number of lines. So I'm getting the name. If the name is equal to null, means there's no name, which should be the developer, then a cost, else. Okay, so now basically it looks like we've read over our number of lines here. So it's this cost, it's not finding an integer next cost, because developer okay, I'm gonna go into this in a little bit more detail here. This is bad coding at the moment because I run getName, which means I loop through all my whole entire array of games and I look for the game. Then when I add ratings, I do it again, which means I'm running the same method twice for no reason. So if I were doing it that way, I would overload my, and I'm doing this so I can also solve the problem here, I would overload my ratings to also have one that receives the game in and int rating, and then this one I wouldn't need to run the get ratings. This one I could just go and I could just say is equal to g. So I wouldn't need to do all of the, I wouldn't run the method again. So in this case I would have done it and I would problem solve it from there. Is I would say getName game g is equal to control v semicolon, and then here I would say if g is equal to null, then do that. Else I'll just go here and I'd send through g. Now I'll print out the g to try to figure out why it's throwing that exception, and I'll try to figure it out from there. But you guys get the idea. If you have multiple different types of objects within the same text file, you have to determine a way to determine which way you've gone through. And in this video, it's actually quite a useful video. And literally, because people battle with this in the trick, they'll ask you questions like this where they have a text file which contains multiple objects. We've covered 3 different ways, or even 4, I think, different ways of trying to figure out which object we're actually trying to, which that record represents. Okay, goodbye guys.
Thank you. So these are on YouTube.